It's the middle part of a trilogy. It's the second one from, Lars von Trier's trilogy. I'm saying trilogy incidentally because that's how the Elvis fans say it, the American trilogy. The second part of his... Yes, they do. It's sad, but there we go.
It is.
Yeah. The second part of his anti-American... He's doing this trilogy of films, which are called USA Land of Opportunity. The first one was Dogville, which you remember had Nicole Kidman, shot on a Brechtian soundstage, so there was...
What's a Brechtian soundstage?
No sets, audience alienation, just the stuff drawn out on the floor. People pretend... No, not cheap. I mean, yes, I'm sure it is cheap, but it's all done. The purpose being that you don't believe the illusion. You realise that what you are watching is a dramatic construction. That's the whole Brechtian thing. Hey, guess what? You're watching a play. My feeling was always, I know I'm watching a play. I came in through a arch that had theatre written over the top of it, and they charged me £5. That's how I know it's a play.
That shows the last time you went to the theatre.
Yeah, that's right. It shows the last time I paid to go to the theatre. It's not the absence of a set, Bertolt, but hey. So it picks up with Grace, now no longer played by Nicole Kidman, now played by Bryce Dallas Howard, who I like very much. Ron Howard's daughter, who was fantastic in The Village. She plays the role of Grace. Remember The Village? M. Night Shyamalan movie?
I remember you talking about it, yeah.
It was very good. And they drive out of Dogville. They arrive at a new town, Manderlay. The new town still has slavery because the slaves there haven't been told that slavery has been abolished. Grace decides that she is going to stay and overturn slavery and bring liberation to the town. But this being a Lars von Trier movie, and we all know that Lars von Trier is a Danish prankster, everything is ironic and arch for him, so don't take anything he says entirely seriously. It all goes horribly wrong. The film is basically an essay about hegemony and the way in which people are responsible for their own oppression. It is not to be taken literally. Obviously, that's the point of the Brechtian alienation going on. However, the screening that I saw in Cannes, some people booed. I think some people were genuinely offended that von Trier could even put forward such a take on slavery.
Did they not get the Brechtian alienation?
They didn't, but they were probably French. So hey. It has a very good central performance by Danny Glover, who apparently when he first read the script turned it down and then saw Dogville and subsequently accepted it. The thing with von Trier is this. I don't trust him an inch. I don't trust his motives. I don't trust his morals. I don't trust his ethics. I don't trust his attitude towards women. I don't trust his general... I just don't trust him. So really, he stands or falls for me on whether or not his films are entertaining and engaging. You remember that Paul Bettany came in when he starred in Dogville, and he said, what do you think of von Trier? And I said, he's a strange mix of impressive and really infuriating. And he said, yes, that's exactly what he's like in real life. Half the time you just want to punch him. The other half of the time you think there is something going on. At 140 minutes, this is a long film, and it tires most people's patience, and an awful lot of people who got through Dogville, I think, may be put off by it. I, however, thought that it did work. I thought that, strangely enough, and despite the archness and despite the insincerity, and despite the fact that von Trier really doesn't understand American culture, and so he's like lobbing these kind of critical bombs at America from Europe. He never goes to America. He doesn't leave his hometown. He invents this fictional version of America in Europe and then criticises the Americans, and a lot of the Americans don't like him for that. But actually, as an interesting conundrum about the way in which people can be responsible for their own oppression and the way in which oppression is a two-way street, I think it's a smarter and, in the end, more satisfying work than Dogville, although it does lack, of course, Paul Bettany, who was absolutely terrific in Dogville. Bryce Dallas Howard is better than Nicole Kidman, who I find rather brittle and irritating. And in the end, you get this montage of photographs of a poverty-stricken black American culture played out over David Bowie's Young Americans. And when that happened in the screening that I was in Cannes, some people were literally booing because they couldn't believe the sort of audacity of doing this. I thought
is that critics who boo? I've never been to see a film where people boo. They might walk out or get bored or fall asleep.
But that's what they do in Cannes. I mean, they're all mad. They've all been driven mad by the film festival. They feel the need to express themselves, so they do boo. They boo the film. It's like people. Then again, I can't because I was
boo at the opera. That kind of thing,
I was famously thrown out of the Lars von Trier movie The Idiots for swearing at it in French. I lost my temper and I started screaming at the movie in French, and I got thrown out. And then I didn't go back to Canada
quite right
for 5
too.
years. Yeah, of course, quite right. Well, no, I was right.
You always complain about people who even speak or eat crisps through a movie, and then you, in the middle of a movie, stand up and swear at it in French. Apart from being outrageously pretentious,
I was swearing at it in French because while this terrible thing was going on, all these other poncy critics were going, "Oh, bravo! Oh, marvellous! Oh, Lars, you're using hardcore pornography in an art movie. How terribly clever of you!" And I thought, I've had enough of this.